The morning sun illuminated the city's center as Adrien Keller, a self-made millionaire celebrated for his calculated precision and unwavering discipline, entered his mansion's kitchen following an extended business call. Sunlight poured through the expansive windows, casting golden light across the marble flooring and polished countertops. His entire existence was impeccably structured, scheduled, and immaculate, save for the delicate sound of a fork gently scraping against a plate from somewhere beyond the counter. Intrigued, he traced the noise, anticipating perhaps a lingering housekeeper or sounds from the staff preparing the morning meal. However, when he rounded the corner, his reality came to a standstill. There, huddled on the floor near the wall behind the dining table, sat his young maid, Isla, her uniform somewhat creased, her gaze cast downward, consuming what appeared to be remnants from last evening's dinner. She wasn't positioned at the table. She wasn't even utilizing proper utensils. She consumed her food in small, rushed mouthfuls, as though fearful of being discovered. For a brief moment, Adrien simply remained motionless, a billionaire possessing everything, observing a woman conceal herself in a corner to consume food that had been discarded. If you believe in the power of kindness and second chances to transform the world, then please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Untold Stories 0.4 because narratives like this demonstrate how even a solitary act of compassion can rewrite someone's entire existence. Adrien was not an unkind person, but he had grown disconnected from feeling, from understanding, from the silent battles that existed beneath the veneer of everyday lives. For him, achievement had revolved around figures, conferences, and financial ventures. He had long since forgotten the sensations of hunger or fear. Nevertheless, witnessing Isla hide to consume her meal awakened something profound within him, a pain he couldn't fully comprehend. He silently retreated before she could detect his presence and departed, his thoughts racing. The vision of her small, quivering hands gripping the plate lingered in his mind. Who was this young woman? Why was she compelled to hide while eating food that was headed for disposal? Later that same day, Adrien examined the household employment records. Isla had been employed by him for 8 months, consistently on time, consistently courteous, never requesting anything. Her wages were humble but reasonable, or so he had believed. He had never once inquired about her existence, her relatives, or whether she experienced contentment. She was simply another staff member, another silent presence that maintained his household's operation. However, that evening, for the first time in many years, Adrien found sleep impossible. He discovered himself contemplating what it signified to exist with nothing, to conceal oneself in a corner for sustenance. The following morning, he intentionally arrived in the kitchen early. He observed Isla organizing the counters, her complexion ashen, her eyes sunken. She maneuvered cautiously, almost excessively so, as though terrified of committing errors. When she inadvertently dropped a spoon and recoiled like a startled child, something within Adrien shattered. He understood this transcended mere food. It concerned dignity, concerned someone attempting to endure in silence. He departed quietly once more, but commenced observing her more attentively. She consistently selected the smallest servings from the staff meals, frequently foregoing breakfast, feigning lack of appetite. He shortly learned from the head housekeeper that Isla transmitted nearly all her income back to her village to support her sick mother and younger brother. She retained barely enough for her own nourishment. That afternoon, Adrien visited his preferred restaurant, but the flavor of his extravagant meal tasted acrid. Every morsel reminded him of Isla's hidden corner. He began reflecting on his own history, the early years when he too had been a struggling intern, resting on office sofas, consuming instant noodles, envisioning a better future. Somewhere during his journey, his prosperity had eliminated those memories, constructing barriers between who he had been and who he had become. The subsequent week, Adrien resolved to implement changes, not motivated by pity, but driven by purpose. He summoned the staff collectively and delivered a quiet yet resolute announcement. From that day forward, every worker in his household would dine together in the main dining room, the identical location where he took his meals. No remnants, no division, no humiliation. He desired equality beneath his roof. The declaration left everyone silent with astonishment, but no one was more shocked than Isla. She attempted to express gratitude, her voice trembling, but Adrien merely smiled subtly and stated, "No one should have to hide to eat." For several days, the house possessed a different quality. The environment grew gentler. Laughter supplanted silence. Even Adrien found himself remaining at the dining table longer, absorbing small narratives from his staff, details he had never noticed before. However, he wasn't finished. Several weeks later, he summoned Isla to his study. She entered anxiously, anticipating perhaps a scolding or an assignment. Instead, Adrien presented her with an envelope and a collection of documents. Inside was a scholarship fund, a completely paid program for her brother's education, and a medical assistance plan for her mother. Isla gazed at the papers in disbelief, her eyes flooding with tears. Adrien told her plainly, "You've devoted your life to helping others. Allow someone to help you this time." From that moment, everything transformed for both of them. Isla's mother recuperated gradually with appropriate care. Her brother commenced attending school and Isla began smiling, authentically smiling as she performed her duties. Adrien, in turn, began frequenting orphanages and community shelters, discreetly funding food programs through anonymous contributions. The man who once trusted only in profits and transactions started trusting in humanity once more. He confided to his friends, "I believed wealth was about possession. But it's truly about what you can offer without anticipating anything in return." Months elapsed, and the mansion that once resonated with hushed formality now contained the warmth of communal meals and gentle laughter. Isla frequently prepared additional portions to deliver to neighboring shelters. With Adrien's approval, the image of her once concealing herself in the corner became the memory that characterized his transformation, a testament that kindness doesn't originate in magnificent gestures. It originates in moments when we elect to perceive what others overlook. One radiant afternoon, Adrien sat at the lengthy dining table with his staff. The sunlight flooded in through the glass windows. And for the first time in years, he experienced tranquility. Not the tranquility that derives from luxury, but the tranquility of recognizing he had finally accomplished something right. Isla served the final dish and settled at the table with everyone else, no longer dwelling in the shadows. As they shared a meal, Adrien realized that the woman who had once hidden to consume leftovers had imparted to him the most profound truth of all. Compassion is the genuine currency of a meaningful life. If this story resonated with your heart, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Untold Stories 0.4 because every act of empathy, regardless of how small, can transform someone's entire world. Before we conclude, share with us in the comments what kindness means to you personally.